Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. This is Success with Srini.
Welcome back. On the podcast today, I'm answering a question that is a long one, big one, and I'll make an attempt. Now, this gentleman first heard me talk about me being an introvert and later on trying to become an extrovert, and then along the way, through numerous different tests, I found out that I'm an ambivert. So I did a podcast on this some time ago. So this gentleman listened to this podcast episode and ever since became a regular listener and ended up sending an email to me telling me about how he has difficulty in speaking up and expressing himself in meetings, eventually end up pleasing everyone and not going through his own feelings. So he leaves unhappy and he leads a very unauthentic life, according to me. If somebody does that, not an authentic way of living life. I did a podcast on this. I talked about this, all that. So if you are listening to this for the very first time, then I suggest that you check out the earlier podcast. I'm going to drop a link for the earlier podcast if you're watching this on YouTube. So let's get into this. See, when you speak about others all the time and you end up not speaking about yourself, you don't get a chance to express your feelings, you don't put your values forward, then the chances are that in a way you are erasing your self-worth. You keep on doing this for a long amount of time, you will no more be yourself. You'll be somebody completely different. And this is another form of cognitive dissonance. You have multiple thoughts, you have multiple feelings, and you have multiple values. You really do not know which side you are playing. So depending upon a given situation, wherever you are, you try to go with one value, and again, when that value gets challenged, you go to the other value, the opposite value, and you don't know where you stand. So this is essentially an act where you will never really lead a full life if you stay in that mode. And by leading a full life, what I mean is taking on difficult things. You are simply living an average life. Even though you may be making a lot of money, even though you might be financially well off, all that is there, but then there is going to be some lingering, sense of unhappiness. I'll give you one example. Hopefully this conveys the point. You might have seen too, where some celebrities, they take on some topics and they keep going very hard with their views. We call them activists. They don't see themselves as activists. They think that they need to speak on those topics. I have done that too in the past, and my experience was I got good praise for what I said, and I also got some pushback for some of my views. I don't do it as much. I don't use Twitter and all that, but the point is, people do. Some celebrities do. They have huge following. They have a huge presence. They have big names. They are big names and all that. But then a question comes up is, why do they do this? Some people do this because a part of media says that they do this because they want fame. A part of media says that they do this because they want to have a political, whatever, their ambitions. What it comes down to, truly, is people who speak up, they express their feelings, are those who want to lead a full life. This is my observation, personal observation. They want to lead a full life. They think this is a way of doing it. They think by doing this, they are authentic, which is the truth. When you speak your feelings, you are authentic. Then they also think that they are fearless. And whatever fears they have, this is a way to attack those fears. So if somebody comes and says something about a world situation going on, they themselves are attacking the fears that they have within themselves. It has nothing to do with the world issue. Maybe not, but they also have an element of that within them. That's why they're speaking. Now, this takes us to a whole different observation, which is these people are aware of other people's feelings. So they somehow put themselves in other people's shoes and they see life from whichever way the other people are seeing. And in the process, they connect themselves with those feelings, the feelings of those people. And now once feelings match, you have to take on the identity at some level. And you do that for a long amount of time, you take on the identity of other people. So an individual who is a celebrity and coming out and speaking and, going out all the way and saying things, in the process, making others angry, in the process, making some people happy, but they're speaking their mind, all it means is that they are trying to lead an authentic life, they're trying to lead a full life, they're trying to banish some of the fears, and they're doing this because they have built an awareness and they're dialed into the feelings of people who do not have a voice. Now, a lot of people do not have a voice, and this question is coming from there. And if you start going deeper into this question, and when was the last time you had a feeling that you wanted to express but you couldn't, or something stopped you from doing? And if you start taking that and you start digging down, going deep into yourself, you'll start to see that this is programming. The way you were raised, the way you were, maybe the social structure, or maybe the brought up, that's what we say, the social structure. And you probably were programmed to surrender. You're programmed to not to speak up, all that. So you never really experienced true freedom. And that has continued. Even today you are successful, you're making money, whatever, you have a great career, profession, whatever you have got going for yourself, but somehow you're not able to express what you have on your mind, then you're still caged by the values and feelings and thoughts from your childhood. This is where programming comes in. This is where the unconscious retention I talk about all the time here, that comes in, and your brain has been in a way hijacked by those people many, many years ago, and now you're not able to get it back even though you have everything going for you. How do you break through this? Well, there are so many ways you can start. And again, this has nothing to do with your speaking abilities or your English or the whatever language you speak, none. This has to do with you, your convictions, your values, your thoughts, your feelings, all together stacked in one line. I say this all the time, you holding your ground. If this is a mirror, let's say if these four things, they constitute a mirror, then when you look into that mirror, you see yourself. You don't see any other distortions of your image. That comes with some deep conviction. That comes with positioning. You position yourself in your mind. Now, here is what I suggest you do. Next time in a conversation, deliberately take the opposite side. If everybody is agreeing to something, stand up and say, I don't want to do this. Okay? I don't want to do this. And see what happens. Let's say you want to go somewhere and you decide not to go. I'm just giving an example. Stand up and say, hey, I decided not to go and I'm not going. See what happens. Because that is your authentic self. You expressed your authentic self. If somebody is pushing or making you do something which you think is not the right thing to do in the greater interest, but you're still doing it because by not doing, you are going to make somebody unhappy for whom you care, who is important to you in a later context, then stand up, in that moment, you just say that I will not go with this. I can't do this. And you start small. Just don't do it in larger contexts. Start small, see what happens, and then build that nerve, build that muscle that is going to create that identity for you. And from there, it all goes. I've also said this here, the most flexible individual is successful in any context, any situation. But showing extreme flexibility also breaks your backbone. So you got to be careful how you do this. But I know this for sure, that if you can't express your feelings, you can't live a full life. This is the truth. And yes, as far as solutions, this email from this gentleman was about, can I try hypnosis and all? Yes, you can. I would rather have you try some conscious techniques before you go into the unconscious techniques. So consciously try to see if you can overcome this. Then, if you need a little bit deeper intervention, you could try hypnosis too. Essentially, all hypnosis will do is have you focus on the right thoughts. Well, bring in the right beliefs and preserve the right values so that the thoughts are pure and the feelings are correct. So in a way, you are redrawing your entire subconscious mind specific to the way you want your identity to show up. I think I said it right. Maybe not. Well, I did. Okay. That's all there is to this. Hopefully, today's podcast will help you to find and express your authentic self. That was my goal. That's all for now. Wherever you are, be safe, and I'll be talking to you as early as tomorrow. And do send me your questions, okay? 888-818-0404. You can call me, you can text me, and all that. Okay, that's it. Bye now.